Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and today we're going to talk about Vivek Ramaswamy, and we're going to talk about Aquaman, the Lost Kingdom, and um, and the political speech that is contained within Aquaman, the Lost Kingdom, and the political action it calls for, and how Vivek can use Aquaman, the Lost Kingdom, to build a better world when he becomes president in 2024 in in 20 becomes U.S. president in 2024. All right, let's get into it. So I saw Aquaman, The Lost Kingdom, and no spoilers. I'm just going to talk a little bit about one thing that happened in the movie, which is already talked about in the trailer. So in the movie, so I watched the movie and I really loved the movie. I thought it was really fantastic. I would honestly, I would say it's a 4 out of 5 star movie. I really enjoyed it. And what was really fascinating was there's this one point where Manta Ray actually makes the climate worse, right? So this is a superhero movie, and they're like, okay, we got to show danger to the world so that the heroes can save the world. And so what they did was they showed like a river sweeping away some cars, and then a bunch of forest fire, a forest burning, and then buildings falling over because there were earthquakes. And I was like, am I supposed to be scared? That's a bog standard month in California. Every single thing you just showed happens every month in California. Like, you were missing the mudslides, or like that's supposed to scare me. That's B-roll from CNN, right? Like, so what's interesting is I love Vivek Ramaswamy because he speaks powerful reality elements, right? And one of my favorites is uh, drill, frack, burn coal, right? He is for using fossil fuels because we have 4 centuries in reserve of fossil fuels, and green energy has turned to pure suck, right? So there's really zero there's literally zero reason to use fossil fuels, right? I'm sorry, there's zero reason to use any of the green energy because it doesn't deliver. Like, I don't even know a single person who runs their house on green energy, right? There's not a single city in the world that runs on green energy, like, let alone a nation, right? Like, green energy is unicorn tears and pixie dust. It's nothing, right? But we are Republicans, and actually, what I just talked about happens every month in California, like forest fires, earthquakes, floods that sweep away cars, mudslides, really, like climate chaos is very much here, right? So what can Vivek Ramaswamy do about that? Well, there's very good news. I want to give the good news to you, and Vivek Ramaswamy can end all of the conservation efforts that we were ever climate shamed to do, right? You and I, like, so let's talk about an actual climate change future that is acceptable to Republican Americans, right? And Vivek Ramaswamy can bring us there. Okay, so first of all, who do we want to be and who do we refuse to be? So what is the conservation green energy champions calling us to? They're calling us to be un-American. One, they're calling us to be fundamentally uncool. Literally, like, they're calling us to be sweaty. Here's what they're calling us to be. I'll walk you through it. Sweaty, e-car driving vegans. That is the most, like, that is the anti-Riz, right? They're calling us to be anti-Riz. They're calling us to be like the inversion of a cool American. Now, what's a cool American? Literally cool because you run your AC on full blast all the time, right? Like, run it on full blast, baby. We're literally and figuratively cool, right? Muscle car driving, Mustang, Corvette, right? Nova, Buick Regal. Give it to me with a 305, right? Like, like Type R, right? Last, carnivore. We eat meat. We eat cows, we eat chickens, we eat tons of things with faces. That's an American, right? And so the climate shamers have been calling us. They're like, hey, could you join us over here and be a sweaty e-car eating vegan? And we're like, no, we're Americans. We are cool muscle car driving, drink the black blood of the earth. Carnivores, human raptors, fangs and claws, baby. That's American, right? Now you're like, wait, how's Vivek going to help us with this? Well, he can simply embrace the absolutely amazing good news that was brought to us last week by the Wall Street Journal, right? And Vivek can say, hey, everybody, I'm going to save you from the climate shamers. And we are going to be climate changers. And how is the Republican Party going to get into climate change? Well, the Washington Post last week did an amazing story, a really, really good story, that carbon capture is here. All we got to do is just suck the carbon out of the air and bury it in the ground. And none of us ever have to turn off our AC, ever have to plant another tree, ever have to drive those like vibe shriveling e-cars that nobody likes, right? Man, they are ugly and weirdly silent and cause absolutely like horrible range anxiety. They're the worst. They are the worst, right? And then eating vegetables and soy, right? Like nobody wants that, right? Like, and Vivek Ramaswamy could say, hey, in 2023, according to the Washington Post, a reputable news source, carbon capture had its absolute best year ever. More companies went to it and more carbon capture was done than in any previous year. And when I become president, absolutely no one will ever be climate shamed again. You can all run your AC at full blast. Everybody can own a black blood guzzling American muscle car. And everyone can eat cows, chickens, lambs, ducks, whatever you want, right? Like, and nobody needs to do any of this green conservation anymore, right? And so just like Vivek can embrace the good news. And I think that's really powerful, that's really helpful, and that's really useful. Every single word of that is my humble opinion. What's important is when I get to hear your humble opinion, when you get in the comments and send your traffic. Please consider liking and subscribing and have a wonderful millennium.